What are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Every day you're walking by and I can see how you shine. Here I am alone with nothing but a dream that you are mine. Just exactly what I'll do, I don't know, baby, but I gotta find a way to reach you. Tell me what I gotta do to get to your house. Tell me where I gotta go to be with you. Tell me what I gotta say to speak to your heart. Tell me what I need to know tonight.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The Audio Genius.
Get in on the conversation with Rufus Williams and the Morning Show at 591-1690. We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Good morning, and welcome to Thursday. It is the 14th of May, the year 2026. It's the Rufus Williams Show. I am Rufus Williams, and as always, thrilled, delighted, and truly excited to be here with you this morning. And thank you so much for waking up with Rufus. The gang is all here. BJ, Mamie, Annette, Titus. Annette, tell me, what is the big story in the news today?
Well, I'll tell you what is an interesting story. That's for sure. There's a CTA bus driver that was kidnapped by knife point yesterday morning.
Bizarre. And managed to escape by jumping out of the window.
Yeah, a very dangerous situation. And, what's the irony is that it happened on the very same day that CTA officials had their board meeting, and they touted this significant drop in serious crime along the transit system. So the CTA union is now chiming in saying, look, the numbers that they touted don't reflect the daily offenses against the transit workers, and that they are put in very dangerous situations every single solitary day. And this 57-year-old female driver was involved in a very serious situation just yesterday morning.
Wow. What time of day was it that this kidnapping took place? Do you know?
Yeah, the worst time, that if I were a driver, this would be a shift I would not want. It was in the wee hours of the morning at like 2:30 in the morning.
You're just an innocent person picking up strangers going down the street with no anything, no recourse, no anything.
Just doing her job, just making a routine stop, letting a passenger on. In this day and age, I would question even if that passenger paid, because, people are now asking for free rides, and some are not even asking. They're just hopping on the bus or train and just riding for free. And then to have to go through this. Now, the union officials said they were able to look at the surveillance video, and they saw this person wielding what looked like a hunter's knife. So it was a very dangerous life and death moment. And this fast thinking driver tripped the silent signal. Her supervisor in the area was able to drive alongside the bus. And when they saw a good opportunity, she was able to jump out of a window for her life.
Did they catch the guy, a person?
They did. He didn't get far. And so police, they're involved because that person was taken into custody.
That is absolutely troubling and concerning, and can and will and does happen almost any time. It's just problematic. Thank you for sharing that. So Titus, we got some stuff going. We got some reverse racism stuff going on all around. It is really crazy what is now happening with regard to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I just called you in here a second ago
Right.
before we started about the Rooney Rule, and I was just completely in shock that they got rid of it a year ago.
A year ago?
Yeah, they
Okay.
said from according to this report, they said that the minority and offensive assistant head of 2025 season mandate was already getting rid of a year ago. So they already knew about this. They already didn't say anything about this. And what makes this worse is the fact is that there's civil rights actions being taken against this, but it's just to better ensure that more white head coaches get hired.
Every time I try to change my mind about the NFL, they turn it around again. In this case, I actually thought they were fighting against it. This is a whole lot of this. Anything that has minority, DEI, black, anything in there, people are moving away from because this administration suggests that white men are being discriminated against.
Which is the most ridiculous thing that I ever heard in my life.
It is the dumbest thing that has ever been said. Look, I know I'm supposed to have a guest calling in shortly. Got a caller on the line. Let me take Brother Ball, see what's on his mind. Brother Ball, good morning. Welcome to VON.
What's going on, my family? You know, I just heard about this incident. I know a few CTA drivers myself, few operators. One I went to school with, she's a year younger than me. And she turns down every overnight job just for that reason, because she says she doesn't want to lose her job. She's been there a while, but she's not going to let anybody assault her. And I don't think anybody with common sense is. So I equate the CTA drivers now with the CTU teachers. They're getting assaulted at an alarming rate now. These children know that nothing can be done to them. So I think it's a danger when we put these kind of laws out to the public and let them know what police can and can't, or enforcement period can and can't do. Because as we see, even the young adolescents, girls, young teenage boys, preteens, are very violent towards these teachers, and the parents a lot of times have no input or recourse. So it's like, what do? You know, you have to start arming CTA drivers now. I mean, pepper spray they should have something, you know, like a mailman. I don't know what, but as we see, we got mental health. We got so many issues that we're dealing with from people that are just riding the bus homeless. So CTA drivers need some form of protection. I don't know what, but them and the teachers, something has to give.
Well, you've added in a couple of things. I think one with the bus drivers, that has always been a concern. I mean, I think even thinking back to when we were paying 25 cents to ride the bus and they were carrying cash, they were just there with cash and there with no protection. And we come to this day and age when you've got it amped up to a whole other level. And while they do have some protection, that was really put there to guard against disease and all. Otherwise, it doesn't make them safe. And yeah, they shouldn't have to defend themselves, but you can see where all of these issues now exist for all the people who are out there just providing service to us in the streets. It's problematic. But thank you. We can come back and talk about what's happening in the schools and teachers. That's a whole different issue, which we will get to actually today. So thanks for that. Great. Yeah. Okay. So we got a teacher right here to talk to. Bring her on, Titus. Good morning and welcome to VON. How are you this morning?
Good. I'm fine, and I'm glad to catch the show. I'm walking in now. I actually work in Gary, but I agree with everything the young man said right before I came on. So that's all I was going to say anyway.
Well, hold on a second. When you say you agree with him, you agree that teachers are under assault
about
by
the
the
teachers.
young. Yeah.
Yes, we are. People have no idea. Students are bringing guns to school. People just have no idea, and I'll just say that. And it doesn't seem like the city supports teachers, and I just can't understand that. Seems like Chicago, in particular, doesn't support teachers.
Well, let me ask you this: when you say that children are bringing guns to schools, most of the schools, certainly in the Chicago, have metal detectors with children coming in.
Not in Gary, and I'll just say that. Weapons, I'll say that. So it's pretty tough. And why are they bringing them to school? It's sad that we have to have metal detectors.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of.
Yeah. And can I just say one more thing before I walk in? We hear such negative news about kids. My daughter just graduated from Vanderbilt University, and many of her friends have graduated. She went to Homewood Baltimore High School, and her friends graduated from NCAT, Howard, Wellesley, Ohio State, and I could go on and on. So I just want to congratulate all of the students who are doing well. We don't hear that very often.
And we need to hear that more. Thank you so much, Karen, for your call and weighing in. I appreciate it. Let's take a quick break. There'll be more for you when we come back after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching freedom. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter, because every book has a story and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
Video gambling terminals aren't owned by us. They're owned by out-of-state corporations that have never invested in our neighborhoods or our families. They take the money, we take the hit. These machines kill union jobs and drain pension funds for first responders. When these machines move in, crime goes up, break-ins rise. Our community pays the price. We deserve good union jobs, safer streets, and real investments that stay here and build something lasting. Tell City Council, repeal video gambling terminals. Paid for by Neighborhoods Safety First Association.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It's gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet? Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts, and most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One, NA member, FDIC.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Inbound Ryan off to a 26-minute start from 95th Street into downtown as you make your way along the Bishop Ford. Already a 20-minute trip in from I-8094. You do want to factor in an accident. It's off to the left shoulder at Cottage. If you're on Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you're looking at 17 minutes in from I-80. On the outbound side, there is an accident at 167th Street, not affecting anything. There's light traffic going out. If you're on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, already a 19-minute trip in from 67th Street to Jackson, Hollywood to Monroe, 16. The Stevenson moving along at 50 minutes in from I-355 to DeSable Drive, 40 on the return trip. Along the Eisenhower, almost an hour early. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip, just about 50 minutes. You do want to factor in an accident at Costner. It happened earlier. It is off to the side. If you're on the Kennedy, 55 in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, a slow-moving hour for now. Taking a look at our weather. Clear skies and sunny today. Plenty of sunshine. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 66, a low tonight of 41. We're already at 48 at Midway. It's 48 in Inglewood and 48 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. Talking about a number of things this morning, and that introduced what's happening with the lack of safety for CTA bus drivers, particularly with the incident of the bus driver being kidnapped at knife point, moving to the conversation about the safety in schools and what's happening there. Also considering what is happening with our children. Renee has some poignant comments as well on Facebook Live, where she says, in Chicago, disruptive students have had more protection than the children subjected to their bullying. Some liberal policies were actually harmful to the children who they were allegedly trying to help by not allowing them to be removed from the classroom or given consequences for their behavior. At the same time, those allowed to disrupt the classroom environment disrupted the education and safety of majority who were there to learn. It is troubling that this is happening inside of our schools on so many different levels. YG, good morning and welcome to VON. What's on your mind this morning?
Good morning. I just wanted to comment on the bus driver thing. I didn't know that the bus driver was a female, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I drove for CTA. I went to Tuskegee and I teach, so I get it. However, when I drove for CTA, they said you couldn't carry any weapons, and if you did and they caught you, you were instantly fired. That's number one. My last line instructor told me that he said when you go to the barn, you leave all your home problems at home, and when you leave the barn, you leave all your work problems at work. And I remember saying, that's hard. I don't think I can do that. But he said, do it. And so I remember we would get paid on Thursdays. You would see a line of women and children along the steps because the offices were upstairs. They were sitting on the steps waiting to get money from their baby's fathers. I had never seen anything like that before in my life.
Wow.
And so there was that. We would get paid every other week. All the vendors would be upstairs in the barns selling their wares on Thursdays, which, you know, I'm for anybody's hustle as long as it's legal. And also, when I was driving with my line instructor, my last day driving with a line instructor was on a Saturday. We started before 6, and I had 63rd Street. So he drove the first half of the route. I drove the second half of the route. And he was kind of a quiet guy. He was a tall guy. And I really think he was one of my uncle's sons. But anyway, we got on the bus, and we got like around a little bit west of Kedzie. This guy got on our bus. He was drunk as a skunk. And the bus driver let him on. And then the guy started talking smack. And he said, sir, you're going to have to be quiet or calm this down, something to that effect, or you're going to have to leave the bus. And the guy was, he was funny because he was not tall. And he said, oh, I'll kick your 8. And so the bus driver said, you're going to have to leave the bus. And so the guy kept talking smack. So the bus driver pulled to the side like he was picking up a passenger. Matter of fact, he was picking up a passenger. And put the bus in park, got up, and literally threw him off the bus. And I looked at him like, oh, my gosh. And then he got back on the bus, put the bus in gear, and we kept driving. And later on, when we had like a minute, he was telling me, he said, I don't ever want to see you sad about anything. Because there was a girl that was in the class ahead of me. She used to always say thank you to the passengers. At that time, we had the, I don't call it, but the bus fares where you brought money. You know, you paid for it.
Yeah.
Your fare with money. And she would always say thank you. And I was like, really? She was getting ready to graduate from college. She said, yes. Well, then, you know.
Well, let me interrupt you and just ask you this question as a former bus driver. What do you think can be done to help improve the safety for the drivers?
I think they should have more the police guys with the dogs come on the buses. And like we had this thing where the cops will come on the buses and they would get this.
Yeah, I've got to hop because we can't. I mean, I don't know that that's going to really be practical for everyone because that's a lot of resources going to there. But there's something got to be done societally or otherwise to try and help to deal with that. Israel, good morning. Welcome to VON. What's on your mind this morning?
And thanks for taking my call. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my mother did 40 years at public school. I don't know if people know that, but two quick comments. Nowadays, them students are a little bit out of order, but she told me that the Jewish teachers retired on the job. I'm not too sure. I think I know what she meant, but these children are being taught, and I think they wilding out. You know, if somebody asks you to come to the chalkboard, you don't know the answer to the question. I think you just start wilding out. But I call you for two reasons, Rufus. If I can switch gears just a little bit, because the DNC was just here. Could you get somebody on from the foundation to find out why is all these black contractors going out of business over there, Rufus? It's the serious business. These people have to close their doors at the building, this Obama Center, and some people planning a major protest over there. And I'm just saying this because I think you, Valerie, Barack, Strat, I think y'all good people, Michelle, but y'all don't know construction.
I don't know. You don't have to think that. I don't know construction. It's not,
okay,
it's not the space of the
there's a lot of cost overruns over there. Project supposed to go 24 months. It went 36 to 48, and they just don't want to pay them people. And it's just sad, Rufus. And thanks for taking my call.
So you think they're going out of business because they're not getting paid?
No, they're gone.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir.
They've gone out of business because they haven't gotten paid by the Obama Foundation. Is that what you're saying?
It's either a foundation or turn or somebody's not paying. It's like project is 24 months and went way past its cost overrun.
Well, the cost of, I mean, most things, as I do know this about construction and remodeling and everything else, most things take twice as long and cost twice as much. I think people understand that, but when you're making accusations about folks not getting paid, that's a whole different thing and a whole
that's
different
why I say
matter.
if you have somebody from the foundation.
Well, no, I think that's I think that's taken up at a different level than having the conversation here on the air to talk about why folks aren't getting paid. We can certainly help to look into a deal with that. But if black contractors are going out of business, that's an entirely different conversation that we should have about a whole bunch of other things that we should talk about. You should also recognize this, Bob. You know, we just had a conversation about the NFL. And when we think about what's happening from this administration, and we think about, you know, I think about this every time I see your name show up, because you were one of the proponents of this administration that's pushing hard against anything that is black or minority or has anything like that in it. And these are the repercussions and the consequences of our actions when we operate in the ways in which we do without being thoughtful about fully what the impact of that is. I need to go to break, but yeah, we can certainly take that up at another point. Let's find out from Annette what's going on in the news. We'll have more for you when we come back after this.
Clear skies, early morning sunshine as temps climb into the mid-60s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. There's new information this morning about the kidnapping of a CTA bus driver at Knife Point. It happened in the wee hours yesterday at around 2:30 a.m. when a man jumped on the number 53 southbound bus on Pulaski. CTA officials say he forced the driver not to stop for about 3 miles off her route. The 57-year-old driver tripped a silent alarm and managed to escape through the driver's side window at Clark in Delaware and jumped inside a supervisor's vehicle. CTA union leaders are speaking out, saying on CTA surveillance video, the man was seen making jabbing motions with what looked like a hunter's knife. Police say the alleged kidnapper didn't get far and was arrested. Now, all of this comes the same day as the CTA's big announcement that serious crime on the transit system has significantly dropped in April compared to the same month last year. However, union leaders say their numbers don't account for the daily offenses against transit workers. Well, Chicago public school officials are leaning toward cutting jobs and upping class sizes to balance the budget. Perry Williams has more.
The move is due to the proposed $10 billion spending plan having a $732 million budget deficit. School board member Machilla Blaze says the school district is prepared to slash some critical positions.
These are not abstract figures. They represent direct losses to programs throughout the district. Counselors, bilingual coordinators, interventionists, and academic coaches.
The school board has until the end of August to pass a balanced budget. I'm Perry Williams.
Meanwhile, Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates tells WVON that the threat to make cuts is nothing new. WVON's Logan Page has that story.
She warned the reductions could impact staffing, classroom resources, and student services.
I was hopeful this year that they would take a different approach to this structural deficit and actually give people some leadership and guidance instead of fear and anxiety.
Education leaders continue debating how to address the shortfall while limiting impacts on schools and educators. Logan Page, R News Now, WVON 1690 AM.
Imagine free tuition at an Ivy League university. Well, the University of Chicago is launching a free tuition program. Come fall of 2027, the university will offer free tuition for undergraduate students from families with an annual income of less than $250,000. The college will also guarantee free housing and meals for students with families with incomes less than $125,000. The average financial aid package for undergraduate students at the University of Chicago is more than $75,000. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 7:36.
This Juneteenth, the Obama Presidential Center opens to the world on Chicago's South Side. The ancestors are proud. We're WVON.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
They call this one Bill.
Whoa, aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
What's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Ah. Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi. It's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Social connection plays a major role in healthy aging. Stay connected with family, friends, faith communities, and activities you enjoy. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of The Links, Incorporated, and Vantive.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the T.O., Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
It's a thoughtful Thursday on the Cleopatra Show, and we are bringing a heartbreaking conversation with McKinley Nelson, founder of Project Swish. Last week, having gained an angel, Demarion Johnson was 18 years young and tragically lost his life to senseless gun violence in Chicago's Garfield Park neighborhood. Please join me in uplifting Demarion's life, his promising future on the court, and what would have been his endless collegiate potential. Together, we can raise awareness and discuss the impact of violence with inner city youth. You don't want to be late for class. Tune in Thursday only on the Cleopatra Show at 9 a.m.
This report is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the GIF master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get Unreal Unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk, available at Walmart or straighttalk.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
The inbound Ryan just jumped up to a 30-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Getting to the Ryan along the Bishop Ford, you're looking at 20 minutes from I-80-94. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, still just about 17 minutes in from I-80. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, slightly heavier, now 20 minutes from 67th Street to Jackson. Hollywood to Monroe, we're seeing some stop-and-go traffic from Belmont to Fullerton, but overall things are still in pretty good shape. As you make your way along the Stevenson, the Eisenhower, and the Kennedy, we're seeing some sunshine delays on those inbound trips because of those high travel times. An hour on the Stevenson from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 40 traveling out. An hour on the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, the outbound trip 55. And you're looking at just shy of an hour along the Kennedy in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, a slow-moving 50-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather on the sunny side of things today and clear skies. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 66. Tonight, 41. We're looking at 48 at Midway. It's 49 in West Inglewood and 49 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. Talking about a number of things this morning, and glad to have the opportunity to speak with you all about all of these things. There's also a conversation that we'll get back into this morning around education. And I heard certainly Karen, who called in, and Brother Wall talk about some of the issues with respect to our children and the children making the schools unsafe. That's a big issue. We need to talk about that. First, let me take this call from Bonnie. Bonnie, good morning. Welcome to VON.
Good morning. I'm a retired bus driver, and I just wanted to say that CTA had their own private police department. They got rid of it, and it did a fine job. Thank you.
Well, Bonnie, before you go, the private police department at CTA, was there a police officer from this force on each bus, each route, all day?
They had patrol cars. They had their own patrol cars, and they would do bus checks. And you would get a bus check from the bus driver, and it worked very well, sir.
And how long ago did this end? Do you know?
Let me see. I would say about the 90s.
In the 90s. Okay. All right. Bonnie, thank you. Thank you so much. Did you ever have any incidents when you were driving a bus?
Oh, I've had some incidents, but thank God nothing really tragic happened.
Yeah, thank God indeed. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for your call and thank you for those thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Clearly, we are in a different environment societally that's creating a number of these issues that we have with safety. But I do want to pause for a moment. We'll come back to a lot of these conversations around education, safety, and such. But we're still recognizing Health and Wellness Month here on WVON. And Mondays and Thursdays are really the days that we make sure that we focus on them here on the Rufus Williams Show, although we pick them up on the other days as well as things come through. But I had the opportunity yesterday to talk to a couple of doctors about things that are important to us, particularly the doctor who spoke to us about high blood pressure. Let's play that interview. High blood pressure, also known as hypertension, impacts more than 70% of adults over 60, and many don't even know they have it. May is National High Blood Pressure Education Month, and Oak Street Health is raising awareness about the serious risks of untreated hypertension, including heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, and even dementia. Joining us is Dr. Ahmed Mohiuddin to share what older adults can do to manage high blood pressure and to protect their own long-term health. Dr. Mohiuddin is a senior medical director at Oak Street Health, where he provides and oversees team-based primary care for adults on Medicare, particularly in underserved communities across the Gulf South. He's based in New Orleans, where he got his MBA at Tulane, did his residency at Tulane. So he obviously is familiar and loves New Orleans. Dr. Mohiuddin, good morning and welcome to WVON.
Yeah, good morning. I really appreciate you having me.
No, it's good to have you. Why is high blood pressure often referred to as a silent condition, and why is it that more people don't know they have it?
Yeah, I along with a lot of other doctors, talk about high blood pressure as if it's a silent condition because it doesn't have a lot of symptoms for most people. So most people, they think they need to have chest pain or shortness of breath or blurry vision in order to have hypertension, but that's not actually true. Most people have no symptoms at all, and they walk around and they have high blood pressure and they don't even realize it. So unless you're really getting screened and getting your blood pressure checked at your doctor or getting it checked at home, then you might have high blood pressure and not even realize it, and it's silently causing damage. Thankfully, there's lots that we can do in terms of kind of routine prevention and maintenance that we can prevent high blood pressure or treat it early if we detect it.
So much more to talk about there. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that older adults have about high blood pressure?
Yeah, I see misconceptions every day about high blood pressure in my practice. And, the first thing just to reiterate is people think, oh, I'm not feeling bad, so either I don't have high blood pressure, or if I have high blood pressure, it's not causing anything because I'm not feeling bad. Where in fact, high blood pressure, regardless of symptoms, can really damage your body and kind of throughout your body. The second misconception I always see is, people see their parents have high blood pressure, their grandparents have high blood pressure. We say you have a family history of high blood pressure. And then people kind of think that it must be an inevitability, that it's just a matter of time before I myself have high blood pressure as well, where in fact there's lots that we can do to prevent or treat high blood pressure as well. The third misconception that I see a lot is, some people need medicines to treat their high blood pressure. And there's this misconception that's out there that all medicines cause side effects, and once I start on a medication regimen, then I'll be kind of relegated to a lifetime of side effects once I start on this journey. And in fact, there's lots of different medicines to treat high blood pressure, and most have no or little side effects at all, or we can find a regimen that has little or no side effects for you. So working with your doctor to get on the right medication regimen for you can really eliminate any side effects you might experience.
Look, Doc, you have my full and unraptured attention because this is a big deal, and it is hereditary, and it is something that we get close to without even knowing what all the things are around that. Just tell us this part, though. What are the biggest health risks that's tied to unmanaged blood pressure?
Yeah, I appreciate that. It is a serious issue, and one that I'm really passionate about. When I think about the health risks or the damage that high blood pressure can cause, I think about their circulatory system, right? We have blood vessels that go down to our feet, that go up to our brain. And high blood pressure means that there's literally high pressure in those blood vessels. So we have blood vessels that feed our kidneys. When the pressure is high to those blood vessels, that can cause kidney disease, or even dialysis after a time. And when you have blood vessels that go up to your heart, over time, if the pressure is high, that can cause heart disease or even a heart attack. And then we have blood vessels that go up to our brain. And if the blood pressure in those blood vessels is high enough or sudden enough, that can cause a stroke. But even if it's not, and if it's just kind of a little high over time, then that can even predispose or cause dementia as well.
Wow. So what is it when we say high? What does that mean? What should it be? And what are we looking for to know that we have high blood pressure, particularly because we don't know that we have it without testing for it?
Yeah, I would say it depends a little bit on the individual, but for most people, we're shooting for 120 as the top number or 80 for the bottom number or lower. But it's a little bit tailored on the individual. So I would say the first step is really getting to the right care team, getting to the right doctor, either going to your primary care physician or establishing with a primary care physician to figure out how often you should be checking your blood pressure, how you should be screening, and how to approach your whole health, including as it affects your blood pressure.
Now, when we think about taking the test for blood pressure, it seems that every time that wrap goes around our arm, our blood pressure goes up. When is the best time to take it? And how do we make sure that it is really telling us what's actually happening in our body, not from the stress of taking the test itself?
Yeah, that's a really great point, and one thing that we see every day. There's lots of really great practices to taking your blood pressure. I usually tell people to take it in the morning. If they have medicines, to take it 30 minutes, 45 minutes after they take their medicines. The environment that you're taking your blood pressure is really important. You want to be in a quiet room. You want to be sitting down. You don't want to be crossing your legs. You have to empty your bladder so you don't want to have to urinate because that can elevate your blood pressure. And then you kind of sit quietly for about 5 minutes, which is longer than you think, but like really sitting for 5 minutes before you take your blood pressure, that gets you to a really accurate measurement. But again, I would say that some of this even is tailored to the individual and can depend on timing. And so, again, getting your kind of individual plan with your doctor or your care team is really important.
Makes perfect sense. So when we think about, is there anything that we do in life? Because here I began with the opening saying that it's impacting more than 70% of adults over 60. Is there something that we can do in life that keeps us from having high blood pressure, even if it's hereditary? And is there something that happens at a certain age that starts to elevate our blood pressure?
I think, as we get older, we have an increased risk of high blood pressure. That's because of kind of the environmental stress that happens to our bodies over time. I think what I love about high blood pressure is the things that are good for your general health are also good for preventing high blood pressure. And they actually kind of keep you happier today, right? They prevent strokes in the long run, but they also keep you happier and healthier today. So I talk about nutrition. So really focusing on fresh fruits and vegetables. We have this awareness of what processed foods are or ultra processed foods, really avoiding as many processed or ultra processed foods as we can, getting rid of our table salt or really limiting our table salt. And then when we have those processed foods, really paying attention to our labels and looking at the sodium intake, limiting or decreasing your sodium intake is really important for preventing high blood pressure. And again, that also makes you happier today. I would say cardiovascular exercise. So I tell people, do what you love, whether that's going on a nice walk, whether that's jogging, whether that's biking, swimming, really anything that you can do that gets your heart beating going, getting yourself a little bit sweating, getting, working it, that regardless of whether it affects your weight will actually prevent or decrease your blood pressure as well. And then lastly, we kind of have this general knowledge. We know we're supposed to focus on sleep. In my practice, I see, and with myself, I see we're not always getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but really focusing on sleep, getting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep for most adults. And then also managing the stressors in our lives is really important for prevention of high blood pressure. Again, sleep, exercise, nutrition, all of that actually makes you happier today and prevents a lot of the damage that blood pressure can cause to your body. And some people are going to need medicine. So again, going to your doctor, getting on the right medication regimen that's tailored to you, that works for you with minimal or no side effects is really important as well.
Well, Doc, I can tell you this conversation is driving up my blood pressure. When you talk about diet, we've also heard that it's eating certain meats would also do that. Thinking about pork, thinking about beef, fatty beef. Do those things also drive up blood pressure? Should we focus more on seafood or poultry or something other than that? Does that help?
I would say that really focusing on fresh fruits and vegetables. There's not like specific foods. Sometimes it's the preservatives that are in the foods or the salt that you take. But focusing on fresh fruits and vegetables, I call those whole foods, is really important for really leading a healthy life and preventing high blood pressure.
Fantastic. And what are some other? I'm sorry, go on, please.
Well, I was going to say I think I have to go, but I did want to make sure that we say for more information, please go to oakstreethealth.com or call us at 888-744-6392 and come give us a visit.
Fantastic. Dr. Ahmed Mohiuddin, Senior Director at Oak Street Health. Thank you so much for all this information. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you too.
And we'll be back with more right after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
This May, Vaughn TV brings culture to life. See For the Cause. It's a gripping drama where a rising civil rights attorney takes on the case of a father she barely knows, a former Black Panther with a past that refuses to stay buried.
On the night Mariah was born, while I was in the hospital, the police raided the house I stayed in. With no warrants, they came in and shot up the place. When they were done, 2 of my comrades were dead, 4 injured. If I hadn't gone into labor, it's very possible my life would have ended that night.
And if you missed Vaughn TV's Friday night of premieres, don't worry. There's still time to catch original series, films, and voices that move the culture forward. Watch Vaughn TV anytime on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, or at Vaughn.tv. Vaughn TV, for the culture, by the culture.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
This report is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the gift master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on reliable 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart's.
Now back to the morning show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. Titus, undoubtedly we'll get back to this because this thing around the NFL and the Rooney Rule is real big. And it just continues to show how this administration is pushing more for whiteness, more against black folks, and more against anything that tries to level the playing field, which is what the civil rights and all the movements have really been about. The Rooney Rule, as we talked about before, was just to give an opportunity to ensure that there was an opportunity, that folks had an opportunity, that black people had and could be coaches, because before they were just being not ever given the chance. That's all the Rooney Rule did. It said, make sure you talk to somebody. We've talked about this before, because even though that rule was in place, there were some situations where coaches were already hired, and then they interviewed the black guy. So challenges with it, good that something existed, challenges with it. What they're doing, of course, from down in Florida is saying now that this rule is racist and sexist against white men. It's the most nonsensical thing you can ever imagine when you're trying to level a playing field that has been so uneven for more than 400 years. So where we are now is that the NFL is actually pushing against it a bit and saying what we have in place is what we should have in place. They're also suggesting, because we know that head coaches often would come from the offensive coaches, and they're saying that there had been a push by the NFL to get more black offensive coaches, and now they're saying that's also racist against white men. This is the craziest thing that I've ever heard here in this country since, everything here is crazy. The movements, the progress that we've made, and this push against it is so harmful to us. It's just angering at every point. And it's almost to the point of, given the stance that the NFL is taking, saying, "No, we good. We're not going to change these things." It might actually have me watching the NFL again. They've kind of moved it back in another direction, even though it never moves far enough. So without a doubt, there's more to be discussed here, because this is just a symbol of all the things that are being done against black people for the benefit of white men. And this is absolutely not where we should be in 2026. It's why the earlier call is so infuriating, when you can call and talk about what black contractors aren't getting, and you are one of the key people who come in and talk on the air about your support of this administration. It was so short-sighted, as we all knew from the very beginning when we continue to talk about 2025, that this is just an issue, and it will continue to be one. Let's find out from Annette what's in the headlines, what's in Black Information News, and let's talk some more on the other side. We'll be back right after this.
Sunny and clear as temperatures climb near 66 on this Thursday, May 14th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, Mayor Brandon Johnson is heading to the Vatican to meet the Pope. A CTA bus driver is okay this morning after being kidnapped at knife point. And the Cook County Board is scheduled to meet today with public safety funding on the agenda. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the iHeartRadio app and 1690 AM WVON Berwyn, Chicago. It's 8:02.
Hey, it's Cleopatra Draper. Join me for the Midday Show weekdays at 9 a.m. where we'll sip and spill all the tea. Do you want it hot or cold? Either way, we're serving up the flavor of the day. Weekdays at 9 a.m. right here on the station, giving you what's now and what's next. 1690 WVON.
Hey, Chicago, this one is for you. Join OG Mr. Rick for the OG Culture Report every Thursday night from 9 to 12 right here on WVON 1690 AM. We're talking the culture, our stories, the streets, politics, entertainment, our struggles, our wins, and the voices that matter. Don't miss it. Every Thursday night, 9 to 12, the OG Culture Report with yours truly, OG Mr. Rick, on WVON 1690. That's it. That's all.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This place has a pulse. You hear it in the canopy, feel it in the ground. Life, fully illuminated, engulfs you. From the birds singing in the treetops above to the tiniest insects in the soil below, you take a deep, cleansing breath, filling your lungs with the essence of the forest. Now, imagine it's all gone. Healthy, life-giving forests reduced to nothing. No singing birds, no lush canopy, and water and food in short supply around the world. Time is running out to protect our forests, and without our love, they can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our forests. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
Your eyes can reveal early signs of diabetes and high blood pressure. Schedule a yearly eye exam and protect your vision.
Your health, our community, or WVON.
This report is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Every now and then, you find a deal that actually feels like a win. With Straight Talk Wireless, you get more and pay less. Now, that's a good deal. No contracts, no credit checks, no surprises. All on Verizon's 5G network. Find it in the same place you've always found straightforward prices, exclusively at Walmart and straighttalk.com.
Having healthy kidneys is just as important as having a healthy heart. You need both to live. Too many of us are dying from kidney failure caused by high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease. Kidney care matters. So every day, drink more water, avoid smoking, alcohol, and social drugs. Also limit over-the-counter pain medications and take your prescribed medicines on time. This health and wellness Black Care message brought to you by the South Suburban Chicago chapter of the Links Incorporated and powered by Vantiv.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching freedom. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter, because every book has a story and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. At Lowe's, pros save more on the materials you need to get the job done, inside and out. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking. Now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Valid through May 27th while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're starting with the inbound Bishop 4 right now, extremely heavy and slow. You're looking at a 25-minute trip in from I-80-94 to the Ryan. You want to factor in an accident at 111th Street. It has traffic backed up to 130th. If you're on Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, still just about 17 minutes in from I-80 to the Ryan. Once arriving at the Ryan, you'll need another 31 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. DuSable Lakeshore Drive bumped up to 21 minutes from 67th Street to Jackson, slow from the Stevenson all the way to Monroe. As you make your way from Hollywood to Monroe, now just about a 19-minute trip. The Stevenson in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, an hour, 50 traveling out. If you're on the inbound side of the Eisenhower, you're now looking at an hour 5 from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound about a 55-minute trip. You want to factor in an accident. It's off to the right shoulder, though. At Damon, that's between a car and a van. If you're on the Kennedy, you're looking at 55 in from O'Hare to downtown, a slow-moving 50-minute trip to the airport. Taking a look at our weather. Pleasant and sunny today. Lots of sunshine. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of around 66. A low tonight, 41. We're up to 51 at O'Hare, is 52 in South Commons, and 52 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON is proud to be an official radio partner for the Chicago Blues Festival, June 4th through the 7th at Millennium Park. We're bringing generations together, one blues riff at a time.
We gon' get your wang dang doodle all night long.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Rufus Williams on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
You wonder how to do it. It's just one simple rule. I'm just cool.
Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Hey. R-U-F-U-S. What's that spell? R-U-F-U-S.
I'm just cool.
Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Sing it, baby. R-U-F-U-S. What's that thing? R-U-F-U-S. That spell cool.
The audio genius. The audio genius. The audio genius.
Welcome back. So I'm going to Charleston. Going to Charleston in October. You should come with me. There are so many historical sites, so many historical remnants there in this city, which is why we chose it as our first domestic trip. Often we'll think about going to Alabama. We'll think about Birmingham. We'll think about places south as places where civil rights was fought, and it's all true. But we don't think necessarily about South Carolina. We don't think about where we first got to this country. We don't think about the trades that were happening there from actual people, and we don't think about the museum that's there. We don't think about the history that's so deep and rich in this part of the country, which is why we're going there. So I haven't checked to see what the metrics show. I haven't checked to see how many of you all have signed up. So, but do so. I'm going to check it over the weekend. We're going to talk about it on Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, fine. Wednesday. We're going to talk about it on Wednesday, but please go sign up. I'd love for you all to join us. We have so much fun on these trips, such good camaraderie, such great people, and come out and hang out with us. If I don't see your names on the list, I'm giving you a call, and you know who you are. So just do it so we don't have to go through all that. And let's go and have a good time together. And I need you to know that when I go there, I'm going to be styling because I'm going to Sid's to get my Kango. In fact, I think I'm going to be a Kango wearing dude all summer since Sid's is going out of business after 65 years, having this sale right there through the end of May. Oh, I'm running out of time there. I need to go today. I need to go today and get my caps. Don't beat me over there. Get my hats, get my Panamas. The prices are crazy. The looks are great. You don't want to miss it. Sid's Clothing and Hats, saying goodbye. Everything is on sale. 609 West Roosevelt Road, or give them a call at 312-421-3332. And do not tell them that you want everything that Rufus bought, because I'm going to be clean. Talking about a lot of things this morning, and happy to have you join us in conversation. Michael O'Connor, good morning and welcome to VON. What is on your mind this morning, my friend?
Hi, good morning. I am very glad to be able to talk to you and the WVON family this morning. You know, every day that's above the ground is a good one.
Man, you know
With
it.
that being said, I'd like to send my condolences to the Collins and the Clark family. And I'd like to talk about the black contractors that called. I do know that the majority of black contractors that I used to talk with had enough common sense to understand that the Republican Party was not in African Americans' best interest, specifically on a statewide level and a federal level. I wanted to also talk about the CPS debt funding revenue streams that are allowed because we have 21 new board members. 11 of those board members have been appointed by the mayor. So if there is any type of money issues, the mayor has already been to Springfield, and I think he just left Springfield, and he's been begging for funding. Now we have 19 members in the Black Caucus in the state, and so I'm from the school of belief that we're going to have to do whatever we need to do to make sure that all of our members understand that it is important that they vote in a block vote, that they will not only allow funding to come on the floor, but to be voted on. And with Chris Welch running the Senate, I think he's running the Senate, and I forget who runs the House. I think we stand a better chance here in this island that we're in, this blue island, against the other Republican states that are voting not in their best interest in terms of their black children. Wisconsin and Indiana, in particular, I speak about. I also think that in order for us to deal with the safety issue, there's going to have to be amendments to the criminal code, because you are not allowed to have a knife or a bottle cap, anything to protect yourself in these public environments. You have to have, well, they used to have conceal and carry. So I asked the question, will bus drivers will their unions be talking about conceal and carry on the buses? And that could be problematic. I think also I want to congratulate the mayor for his efforts to consistently ask the rich to pay their fair share in taxes. That has not happened. And we, as people who either rent or own bungalows, are being overcharged because the rich people who live and make profit in Chicago are not paying their fair share. And until they pay their fair share, we're going to have revenue stream issues. And I just think that that has to happen, and people who are against it, and I know that there are council members, city council members who are against it, Black, Latino, and white. And I asked the question, how much cash do they have in their pockets, and where did it come from? And there are groups of people who are looking at campaign finance sheets to find out what's what. That's my comment. You have a great day, and I'll be calling more often.
Thanks, Michael O'Connor. I appreciate you. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more on the other side.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. It's D.L. Hughley.
Nick Cannon's logic is as weak as his problem. Everybody fucking knew that Republicans freed the slaves. Everybody knew it. The last time he did something for black people was 163 years ago. You got to update your resume. Have a 5-year gap on your resume and see if it's valid. When Republicans did that, Hawaii wasn't a state. If you're going to talk about the greatest of a policy that helped black people out, it should at least be sometime after the fucking moon landing.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
At United Fidelity Bank, our CD rates aren't just good, they're roaring. Hi, I'm Heron Malone, Vice President and Community President of United Fidelity Bank. Right now, you can open a 6-month certificate of deposit with a 4.15% annual percentage yield. That's a strong, steady way to help your money grow with confidence from the very first day. We know you have options when it comes to where to save. That's why we focus on something bigger than numbers alone. When you bank with us, you're choosing a team that takes the time to understand what matters to you and supports your financial goals with guidance that feels personal, not packaged. We're your local banking partner, committed to delivering the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by and see me and my team today to open your high-yield United Fidelity Bank CD at our Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street, or open your account anytime at unitedfidelity.com.
Rates are subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically to a standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
Routine health screenings become even more important with age. Preventative care can help detect health concerns before they become serious. And that's your Healthy Reminder.
This Healthy Reminder is sponsored in part by the South Suburban Chicago, Illinois chapter of The Links, Incorporated, and Vantiv.
It's Matt McGill.
Matt, we did want to give you a little how do you do today. I'm from McGuire. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? You may think you're upper class, but you're just a horse's. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do?
Thank you, guys.
McGuire, you're welcome.
Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Are you ready? Not just to do hair, but to build a real beauty business.
If you're a stylist, a barber, or a beauty professional, this show is for you.
I'm Nidra Williams of Solo Beauty Supplies.
I'm Dr. Lekashan, trichologist and salon owner.
Breaking down real strategy, real growth, and what it takes to win in this industry.
Tap in, lean in, and level up.
The Hair Salon Tour Show, where beauty professionals become business powerhouses. Join us Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Where beauty professionals become business powerhouses. WVON 1690.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture to cuisine. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, the beauty, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We're walking through history and standing where our stories began. From the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views, this is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner. And keep listening for more details. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding, one destination at a time. We are WVON.
This report is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Ready to upgrade to the perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm's sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort, score unbelievable deals on both. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Inbound Bishop Ford still coping with that earlier accident at 111th Street. Traffic backed up to 130th right now. You're looking at a 20-minute trip in from I-80-94 to the Ryan. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, no changes there. Still 17 minutes in from I-80. The Ryan, a slight improvement, but still heavy and slow. A 28-minute trip in from 95th Street to downtown. If you're on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, expect just about 21 minutes from 67th Street to Jackson. Hollywood to Monroe, pretty much stop and go from Montrose to Fullerton. On the inbound side of the Stevenson, still that hour in from I-355 to DuSable Drive. That's mainly due to the sunshine delays. Outbound, a 45-minute trip. Inbound along the Eisenhower, almost an hour 5 from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Outbound still recovering from that earlier accident. Still in play at Damon between a car and a van. You're looking at 55 minutes. It's traveling out. And the Kennedy in from O'Hare, almost 55. Getting to the airport, a 50-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, sunny, pleasant, and mild today. So sunny that the National Weather Service has upped our daytime high to 67. 41 tonight. Currently is 54 at Midway, 54 in Orland, and 54 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. Okay, let's start something. When we come back after the bottom of the hour, I've got another really important conversation that we had about teeth. And we'll do that when we get to after the 8:30 break. In the meantime, let me just talk to you about some other things that just really sit on the top of my mind. It was about 20 years ago that, almost 20 years ago, that I became the president of the Board of Education. And I talked to Melody Span Cooper because I thought that in our community, we just need to talk about education more. It needs to be top of mind. It needs to be the number one thing when I looked at how our children were doing. And that led to me coming on this show once a month when Roland had the show at the time, and talking to him about what was happening in education from my vantage point as the president of the board, which all those things ultimately lead to me being here today. But the issues permeating the issues still exist. Sunday will be the anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education, May 17th, 1954. And in preparation for that, we're going to have a wonderful conversation on Monday talking about what happened, where we are, and what the future looks like. Joining me in conversation on Monday will be Dr. Janice Jackson, who was the former CEO of Chicago Public Schools. She is now at the Aspen Institute. Karen Freeman Wilson from the Chicago Urban League. As you know, she was also the former mayor of Gary, has a number of perspectives as it relates to a lot of things that happen now. And Amisha Cross, We'll hear Alicia Cross come on and join us for political conversation, but Alicia also works for the Education Trust. So we will have a conversation about where we are educationally since Brown versus the board. One of the things clearly that happened in 1954 was that that ruling opened up more than just the schools to be integrated. That ruling opened up integration throughout the country. So the effect of one thing permeates through everything else, just as we're seeing. And I talked about the Rooney Rule and what that means, not so much because it matters in professional football, but what it means to all the things that continue to push against anybody who was not a white man. That is the discrimination that we're now going to have to fight against all over again. It shows up in this one way, but it impacts everything else. When we look at voting, this case, Calais versus the Calais case down in Louisiana, wasn't just about Louisiana, because what you saw was in other states, the redistricting happened immediately. In fact, in Louisiana, they had already started to vote. They stopped it so that they could do redistricting there. So it may be this one thing over here that impacts so many other things, and rarely are we finding those things being to our benefit. So what do? We fight. We don't stay silent. It is not the way in which things happen. So when we think about all of these things, we have to push forward and push hard on it. There's been conversation right here yesterday a lot about education. We began in the morning, Annette and I, talking about the gap, the $732 million deficit that appears in CPS's budget, which has to be balanced by the time they get to the end of August. I did hear yesterday afternoon the president of the teachers union on with LaDonna and Atiba discussing some of those things. I can't say that I left the conversation with much more knowledge other than what we know to be true, which is what she said. Each year we come to this moment. Each year there's a deficit. Each year we start to look at some of the first and obvious things, which is, do we need larger class sizes? Do we need fewer teachers? Do we need fewer administrators? Do we need fewer facilities? The answer is probably yes on all those things, because some decisions were made to increase and enhance when we could not afford. And so now we have to pay the penance for that. Troubling the conversation about how children are acting in schools, but it's why I came to Melody 20 years ago almost and had the conversation about what we need to do and how we need to continue to elevate that. Sounds like we're back there again. I got more information that I did want to share just on where we are with schools, kind of in a build-up and understanding where we are as we talk about the budget deficit, as we talk about the elections that are coming up, as we talk about what I see as true instability in our school system here, trouble right on the horizon. If you don't see it, we're going to talk about it, and kind of what these monies, what the comparisons are in the monies and the achievements that have happened over all of this time. So a lot to come in education, and we'll be talking about it right here on the Rufus Williams Show beginning yesterday. So stay tuned for all of that. Let's find out from Annette what's going on in the news. Got more for you, and taking more of your calls, 773-591-1690 when we come back after this.
Clear skies, early morning sunshine as temps climb near 67 degrees. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. The Cook County Board is scheduled to meet today with public safety funding on the agenda. Commissioners are set to consider a $20 million investment to expand violence intervention programs across the entire county. Board President Toni Pratt-Winkle is expected at today's meeting. She's been out sick, but working from home since late April. There's new information this morning about the kidnapping of a CTA bus driver at Knife Point. It happened in the wee hours yesterday at around 2:30 a.m. when a man jumped on the number 53 southbound bus at Pulaski. CTA officials say he forced the driver not to stop for about 3 miles off her route. The 57-year-old driver tripped a silent alarm and managed to escape through the driver's side window at Clark in Delaware and jumped inside a supervisor's vehicle. CTA union leaders are speaking out, saying on CTA surveillance video, the man was seen making jabbing motions, which looked to be with a hunter's knife. Police say the alleged kidnapper didn't get far and was arrested. This comes the same day as the CTA's big announcement that serious crime on the transit system has significantly dropped in April compared to the same month last year. However, union leaders say CTA crime numbers don't account for the daily offenses against transit workers because those crimes are not reported to the police, only CTA. Chicago public school officials are leaning toward cutting jobs and upping class sizes to balance the budget. Perry Williams has more.
The move is due to the proposed $10 billion spending plan having a $732 million budget deficit. School board member Machilla Blaze says the school district is prepared to slash some critical positions.
These are not abstract figures. They represent direct losses to programs throughout the district. Counselors, bilingual coordinators, interventionists, and academic coaches.
The school board has until the end of August to pass a balanced budget. I'm Perry Williams.
Meanwhile, Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates tells WVON that the threat to making cuts is nothing new.
I was hopeful this year that they would take a different approach to this structural deficit and actually give people some leadership and guidance instead of fear and anxiety.
CPS is facing a $732 million budget deficit at a time when there's lower enrollment. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 8:34.
Vine TV brings stories in full bloom. See Martha's Vineyard versus DeSantis, a powerful documentary on politics, power, and human lives colliding, following migrant families fighting for justice beyond the headlines. And discover even more featured content on Vine TV, films, series, and stories that keep the culture connected. Stream Vine TV anytime on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, or at VON.TV. Vine TV, for the culture, by the culture.
Primary care that's completely you. OSF Complete Care 55 Plus is personalized primary care for adults 55 and older living with ongoing health conditions. Now accepting patients in Evergreen Park. OSFhealthcare.org/CC55.
This summer, we're taking our streets back with peace. The faith community of Saint Sabina is calling on the entire city to stand together for the Summer Peace Takeover Friday, June 5th at 7 p.m. Join thousands of Chicagoans for a powerful rally and march for peace featuring special guest, Chicago's own Chance the Rapper. Meet us at Saint Sabina, 1210 West 78th Place as communities from across the city come together with one message. Enough is enough. Let's uplift our neighborhoods, empower our youth, and show the nation what unity in Chicago looks like. The first 1,000 people will receive free t-shirts. So bring your family, friends, church groups, and neighbors. This isn't just a march, it's a movement. The Summer Peace Takeover, Friday, June 5th at St. Sabina. Peace starts with us. Chicago, be there.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Vaughn TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
Living in the hood is not a curse, it's an opportunity. It's your block, your opportunity, and our movement. Join me, Dr. Rode Davis, every Saturday on WVON 1690 from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. as I help renters become homeowners and homeowners become investors. That's every Saturday on WVON.
It's a thoughtful Thursday on the Cleopatra Show, and we are bringing a heartbreaking conversation with McKinley Nelson, founder of Project Swish. Last week, having gained an angel, Demarion Johnson was 18 years young and tragically lost his life to senseless gun violence in Chicago's Garfield Park neighborhood. Please join me in uplifting Demarion's life, his promising future on the court, and what would have been his endless collegiate potential. Together, we can raise awareness and discuss the impact of violence with inner city youth. You don't want to be late for class. Tune in Thursday only on the Cleopatra Show at 9 a.m.
This report is brought to you by ComEd.
powering lives. Here's a great savings idea. Did you know you've got the power to manage your energy? Yep, from usage alerts to energy saving programs and more. ComEd has all kinds of ideas to help you gain control over your energy saving costs. Find out more at ComEd.com/energy savings.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're trying to help you get there on time, but the travel times keep bumping up. Now a 31-minute trip along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. If you're on the Bishop 4, still just about 20 in from I-80-94 to the Ryan because that accident at 111th Street is still in play. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, no changes, 17 minutes in from I-80 to the Ryan. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, still that 21-minute trip in from 67th Street to Jackson, pretty slow from the Stevenson to Monroe. If you're traveling in from Hollywood to Monroe, give yourself 20 minutes there. Stop and go from Irving Park Road to Fullerton. The inbound Stevenson, still just about an hour from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 45 on the outbound trip. The Eisenhower, now an hour 2. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound still just about 55. And the Kennedy, 55 from O'Hare to downtown, a slow-moving 50-minute trip still to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, sunny, pleasant, and mild today. Temperatures now expected to top out right around 67. Tonight, 41. We're up to 55 at O'Hare, 55 in Austin, and 55 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Flanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. I want to jump back for a moment to our health and wellness initiative for this month. Had an opportunity yesterday to speak with a doctor who deals with saving our teeth, Dr. Noblett. Titus, let's play that. Happy to have join us this morning. An endodontist is Dr. Craig Noblett. He's the president of the American Association of Endodontists and director of the Division of Endodontics at the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry. What we learned is that most adults say they would do almost anything to save a natural tooth. A new national survey from the American Association of Endodontists finds that most also do not know the specialist best equipped to help them do exactly that. Dr. Noblett, thank you so much for being here with us on WVON.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's talk about that. Why do so many Americans feel so strongly about keeping their natural teeth?
Well, your natural teeth serve many functions. First of all, that's how you chew. And so keeping up your nutrition, it's important to maintain your natural teeth. They affect your speech. And if you think about your smile, that's part of your self-image. It's part of your personality. So it's important to maintain your natural teeth. And that's what endodontists can help you do. We're the specialists at saving natural teeth.
Now, I mentioned that you're the president of the American Association of Endodontists. You recently did this survey. What does the survey tell us?
Well, we've noticed an upswing in the number of people who are more interested in preserving their natural teeth and having them removed. And also, we're increasing the awareness of the procedures that are available to patients to help them keep their natural teeth. And that's what endodontists do. We provide those procedures so that you can keep your natural teeth.
Doc, when is it that you typically get involved with someone? Because we often, early in life, I certainly have had teeth extracted without the thoughts of even filling cavities. When is the best time that someone should look at engaging with an endodontist?
Well, if you notice any discomfort, especially with temperature, like hot and cold causes like toothache pain, or if you're having discomfort with chewing on specific teeth, you want to get that checked out sooner rather than later, because the quicker we get to the problem, the easier it is to treat and the less complicated. And that's how we can avoid tooth loss. And if someone should recommend a tooth be extracted, always ask if there are other options available to you. And if they don't offer any, then seek the care of an endodontist, or at least a consultation with an endodontist. And you can find one in your area by visiting findmyendodontist.com.
Have to ask you, because so often we hear about tooth infections. How can treating a tooth infection actually impact one's overall health?
Well, if your body is trying to fight off an infection, your nutritional resources are taxed. So we want to clear that up sooner rather than later. And in fact, a recent study that was published earlier this year from King's College in London showed that timely root canal treatment can actually reduce your risk of heart disease and diabetes.
Yeah, something about root canal never sounds like a good time. But I guess it's better to do that than have an infection growing in your mouth and having this other issue. You're an endodontist. Talk to us about the difference between you as an endodontist and a regular dentist. What's the difference?
Well, we're all dentists, but an endodontist goes back to school for an additional 2 to 3 years to specialize in root canal procedures. And we become the specialists at helping you save your natural teeth. And that's all we do is root canal related procedures.
I didn't mean to be offensive. I've just had root canals, and it's like
not at all.
Not the fun thing. There are so many other options today. They have different implants and all other things regarding dental health. Talk about the role that natural teeth play in overall health and well-being, and why that's better than some of the other things that we now have access to.
Well, again, natural teeth are central to your self-image with your smile. An implant is a good way to replace a missing tooth or a tooth that could not be saved by a root canal or and a crown. But if you had the option, a natural tooth is better because you have sensation when you bite on the tooth. It tells you when something's wedged in between that you need to floss out. Implants don't have that sensation. Also, a root canal and a restoration are probably half the cost of placing an implant and a crown. And implants tend to have a lot more complications later on with the restoration, like fracturing porcelain and such. So it's really more cost effective to maintain your natural teeth and also just a more natural sensation.
So given all that, just tell us on the front end, and we hear about having our teeth cleaned once a year, seeing a dentist once a year. Is that still good advice? Should we go more frequently? What is the proper thing to do so that we hopefully don't have to spend too much time with you?
Yeah, I would recommend doing your exam and cleanings twice a year. And if your dentist feels like they could put you on a longer leash, they could do once a year. But I would recommend twice a year just to make sure you stay on top of things. And if something starts, we catch it early before it becomes a big problem. And that would keep you away from a root canal.
Yeah, I should have talked to you last year because unfortunately I had to go through a deep cleaning, which now I'm going 4 times a year to make sure that I'm staying on top of things. So important to know and important to have this conversation with you. Dr. Noblett, where can we go to learn more?
Well, if you want to consult with an endodontist, you can find one in your area, again, by visiting findmyendodontist.com. If you wanted to research a little bit on your own, you could visit aae.org, and we have a section on that website that has information for patients.
Fantastic. That's Dr. W. Craig Noblett. He's the president of the American Association of Endodontists and director of the Division of Endodontics at the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry. Doc, thank you so much for being with us. This is really important information. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Indeed. Be well. And we'll be back with more in your calls right after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Need a reason to visit Wind Creek Casino and Hotel? Well, here's 2,200 of them. Right now, new players get a welcome package valued at up to $2,200 in rewards, including hotel stays, food credits, and slot-free play. It's a one-of-a-kind offer exclusively for new members. Sign up and play as a rewards member to get yours, only at Wind Creek Casino and Hotel. See player services for details. Based on first day's losses from $200 up to $2,000. Must be 21 years or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's time to focus with Robert McKay. Quality conversation, protecting, preserving, and preparing our past, present, and future. Sunday evenings at 4 p.m. on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m. Host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance. And they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
This report is brought to you by Summit Racing. Summit Racing has the parts, tools, and accessories to keep your ride summer road trip ready. You'll find everything for pre-trip maintenance and essentials like emergency roadside kits. Shop summitracing.com and enroll in the rewards program to get more power in every purchase.
WVON traffic and weather now.
The inbound Ryan packed right now. You're looking at a 32-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Still 20 along the Bishop Ford, in from I-80-94 to the Ryan. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, no changes. 17 in from I-80. If you're on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you're now looking at 20 minutes from 67th Street to Jackson. Still pretty much stop and go from the Stevenson to Monroe. Hollywood to Monroe will take you 20 minutes as well. If you're on the Stevenson, you're looking at an hour still from I-355 to DuSable Drive 45 traveling out. The Eisenhower, almost an hour 3 now. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip, a slight improvement, 50 minutes. And the Kennedy, a 50-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, slightly better, but still heavy, 45 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, we're seeing a plenty of sunshine, bright skies, not a cloud in sight. Temperatures climbing near 67 today, 41 tonight, still 55 at Midway, 55 in Roseland, and 55 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. So Annette told you how sunny it is outside. Annette, when I came in this morning, the sun was so bright, I thought I was late getting here to do the show. It was just, and it's not that I hadn't seen the sun because I was in Vegas over the weekend, but it was just so bright this morning. So be ready for that. And I'm glad it's taking the temperatures up because otherwise this is just ridiculous. And you also talk to folks about how long it's taking people to get around. We tell you every morning, Metra is the answer. 95% on-time rate. You won't be late. And it only costs you $2.50 to get on Metra, CTA, or PACE with the purchase of a Metra Day Pass. Just use the Venture app. Bring the whole family. Yeah, take the kids to work because they can ride free if they're under 11 years old. The traffic is maddening. The gas prices are ridiculous. Parking is out of control. Take Metra, drive less, and do more. Let me get back to the phones. Lieutenant Colonel Janice Jeffries, good morning and welcome to the Rufus Williams Show.
Hi, Mr. Rufus. Hey, Titus. Hey, how is everybody this morning?
You got to say hey to Annette, too.
Hey, Annette, how are you?
Okay, we're all good. Thanks for asking.
Yes. Rufus, that was a very important segment about teeth. I don't think we really understand how important that is. To include, I think we often think we're supposed to lose teeth. That's not correct. And it is good to have such a great dentist like I have, Dr. Kyra Barnes. So you don't have to go all the way to Minnesota. It's one right here in the Chicago land that you can speak with when you want to know the good stuff about your teeth and your oral hygiene.
Indeed. Thank you for that.
And tell your sister I said, hey.
I'll see you in a few days. I'll tell her just that. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Janice Jeffries.
Okay, have a good one.
Okay, always good to talk to you. Jim from Elgin, good morning and welcome to WVON. What is on your mind?
Well, good morning. As a general dentist myself, I would like to applaud you for having the interview with the endodontist. Like they say, it's cheaper to keep her, and that's certainly the case with your teeth. An ounce of prevention goes a long way, and this is why you should have regular checkups. If you don't have insurance, don't be cheap. Spend the money because it's well worth it. Because, I tell my patients, if you're driving your car, you stop by the stop sign, let the car go by, and don't get a crash so you have to fix it later. And that's exactly the case. So an ounce of prevention goes a long way, and it's good to keep things going. And also, one thing I do not agree with the Trump administration on, and Kennedy, is his dissing the use of fluoride. Because fluoride is a great way to keep your enamel harder. It creates a chemical barrier because the acidity from sugar, consuming sugars and things, it leaches the calcium out of your teeth. And when you have fluoride on there, it makes it harder to do. And so that's why they put fluoride in the water. And at 1 part per million, there's no medical problems whatsoever. It's been done for years. And unfortunately, people sometimes like to create a crisis when it doesn't exist. So that's one area that I do not agree with the Trump administration on. But other than that, it was a great interview. It's good to have people understand the importance of your teeth. Plus, if you want to have a selfie, you need a nice smile.
It only took 5 years for Jim and I to agree on something. Jim, thank you so much for finally coming on here and making sense of something that makes sense. Let me ask you this while you're here as a general dentist. Why is it that so often dentists in our community are extracting teeth versus helping to fill cavities and give better information about dental?
Well, a lot of it is because especially these corporate places like Aspen Dental, they want to push for production. They want to extract teeth, they want to sell you implants and that sort of thing. And I tell people it's much cheaper to keep your teeth. And that's why if you get early care, you don't get to the situation where you have broken down teeth or you have bigger issues. Plus, you should not smoke. Smoking ruins your mouth. It creates gum disease and it hides symptoms of inflammation of your gums because it restricts your, it's a vasoconstrictor. So when you smoke a lot, you mask problems that otherwise you would see.
Well, smoking is bad all around. When should people start taking their children to the dentist? When should we start this process of having?
Well, I mean, some people will advocate, like a year or two, 1 or 2 years old, really can't do much because the kid doesn't cooperate. But if you just go in, let's say an older sibling has their teeth cleaned, the younger kid can watch the older one get their teeth cleaned and kind of get used to being in the chair so they're not afraid when it's their turn.
So you're saying 1 or 2 years old? Well, they don't even know.
You can't do much with them. You start getting your teeth when you're about 6 months old. but you can't do much. But you can just start basic habits. But as far as getting it cleaning, it's usually 3 years old or more. But it depends on the kid. If a kid's too afraid, it's better not to force them. So it's better to gently present the whole experience to them. So that's why if somebody else goes in, the little kid can sit in mom's lap or whatever and watch somebody else, have the work done. So they're used to the sight. And when it comes like for their turn, then it's not such a big deal.
All right, Jim, I'm going to let you go.
They're used to it a little bit.
I'm going to let you go. I was still
Thank you,
in
sir.
agreement of things. Let this just be a good time, a good conversation that you and I finally had. Thanks for calling. As I mentioned before, we get to all these things, and the fact of the matter is, without education, we will perish. Without knowing what's going on, we will have issues. And certainly we cannot continue to move forward if we don't educate our children. I was really distressed to hear about violence that's happening in our schools, particularly violence that's happening against teachers. That is an issue that takes place at home, and children have to come to school really being ready for what takes place inside of there. In every school in Chicago, there are metal detectors. One of the interesting things when my son was at Whitney Young, there was a metal detector, but they actually didn't use it a lot because they didn't need it. That is no longer the case. Everyone who comes in now has to go through it. And my marker has often been, if it's happening here at Whitney Young, then I can only imagine what's happening at other places. Why children are bringing weapons to school, this is an issue of our society, not an issue of these children and not an issue of the schools. It's all this violence that's happening in all these places. This is an issue of our society, not so much an issue of the children in the schools. Tremendous concern about what's happening on the CTA. There have been comments that have happened consistently on Facebook and some of the calls that talked about how things were before. A force, whether it's the police force or a specialized force for the CTA, that allows these drivers to be able to respond, react, or have someone with the capability to show up almost immediately when they have an issue is what we need to do. We need public transportation here in Chicago. It is what makes our metropolis work. We need to have it. It needs to run 24 hours as it's doing. And the people who are doing the work, men and women, need to be safe, especially women, need to be safe while they're doing so. One, we need to act better, generally, specifically. And two, we need to ensure that the safeguards are there to protect the people who are doing the work, whether it's the children in school or the bus driver on the bus. Let's make those things happen. A lot to talk about around education. We will pick it up really big on Monday with the wonderful group that I have assembled. Make sure you tune in for that, participate in that discussion, and we'll continue on as it relates to specific things here in Chicago public schools. I'll just tell you, I will tell you some of the highlights, except I'm out of time. Annette, thank you so much for giving us all the information that you do that gets us through the day. And Titus, appreciate you for keeping all these things together. Easier day because we didn't have any real guests today, just the tapes. But that's the way live radio goes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your participation in the show. And I'll ask you, as I always do, as you go through the course of the day, you will come across people who are dealing with things that you know absolutely nothing about. So please be kind, always. And with that, Annette, tell us what's in the headlines, and T-Dub, take us home.
Sunny and clear as temperatures climb near 67 on this Thursday, May 14th, 2026. I'm Annette Flurnoy, and in the headlines. Later this morning, community violence prevention groups are set to rally at the state capitol in Springfield to ask for continued state funding. Mayor Brandon Johnson is heading to the Vatican to meet the Pope soon. And a CTA bus driver is okay this morning after being kidnapped at knife point and escaping through a window. National news from the Black Information Network is next on the iHeartRadio app and 1690 AM WVON Berwyn, Chicago. It's 9:02.